Hello and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin. Yeah, happy Friday. Crypto market doesn't look so happy, but still it's Friday. I think most people are okay with that. We want to take a look at the daily chart first. There's a trend line I want to show you, which could be quite relevant. It's not so relevant from an Elliott Wave point of view. Even though I have to say that we could argue that the price has been moving in some kind of a channel, but I would struggle to find really a beginning of this channel. So it's more like just a trend line down there that is relevant, which has been supporting the price since October. So let's start with the daily chart here. We have basically 4 touch points. Okay, so here this is a bit subjective because the wick still goes down a little bit. So there is no perfect way of drawing trend lines. So if I really strictly use the wick, then there is some space here left on those swing lows. I don't like the way that looks. If I use the linear chart to draw the trend line, then you see that there is still a little bit of space there as well. So essentially that's not so important. I think communication is that we are very, very close to a point where quite a substantial trend line could break. If you like to trade trend lines, I mean that could be a setup. Obviously the risk is there that the market dips back into the orange support region, and I just want to share with you that I'm watching this trend line, and there could even be a short trade setup, not an Elliott Wave short trade setup, you know, from to send the price back into the support region. But if you're using trend lines, breakout trades, I mean this is quite a relevant one. And yep, it depends a little bit on how I draw this trend line. So maybe draw it on your own chart, see what works for you. But even if you just leave it a little bit of space, once the price breaks below this trend line, it's just something I'm watching. Unfortunately, it's not so precise due to this wick here, which messes it up a little bit. We could argue that we're already there, right? But then I have to cut through this wick. But yeah, I think this is probably the most relevant way of drawing it. But in this case, we would need to see a reaction here to the upside quite quickly, actually. If this trend line breaks, and again, trend lines are not super relevant, but I'm just saying maybe it will accelerate the move to the downside back into the lower support range. I'm not saying we have to get there, but let the market tell us, right? It's just an additional you know, pattern, I could say, to watch on the charts, because not much is happening anyway. Here on the daily chart, the market has really just been moving sideways for 3 months now, just really in this sideways range. We're holding above support. If we get back into this support range, the main support range, which really hasn't moved in 2 to 3 months since the beginning of the 4th wave, then this could be another opportunity maybe to add in the support region. Okay, so maybe add positions. That's one opportunity that would come up if we get a nice and deep pullback to the lower boundary of the range here, or into the middle of the support area. And it's just something to watch, you know, these fib levels here. So the structure from the 1st of May low is a bit problematic. I mentioned that many times. I'm still watching for potentially higher prices, but so far, I mean, directly, okay, and that this 4th wave might have bottomed. But either way, short term, I'm looking at lower until I see a first small 5-wave move to the upside that would indicate the start of this C wave of a 3rd wave. So my mindset is already, I'm watching for lower prices until the market breaks at least above the initial resistance. Then I'm checking, okay, do we have an initial 5-wave move up? If yes, then this could be the beginning of the C wave of wave 3. And then we could, you know, take it from there into the region of eventually like 85, 86K. Before I forget, what I wanted to share with you before we go to the smaller time frame, today, late today or early tomorrow, I'm going to send out the MCO Weekly again, our newsletter. If you're interested in how it looks, I'm going to show you the last one here on the screen quickly. It is just our newsletter. You can register for it. You find a link directly in the description. It's a free newsletter. There's an introduction. There's typically a stock or an index I'm looking at, analysis together with a chart, market update, mindset, trading mindset update. There's a cryptocurrency I only analyze in the newsletter. Last week we analyzed PZP. That's still moving in line with expectations. You actually get the chart link as well. some infos about the membership. There's typically info about the video that I cover every week on X, on Twitter, only on X. There's a featured YouTube video. I talk about membership content, what I published on the website as articles, and some gratitude, just some thank you to YouTube comments, and then also an outlook into what's coming up for this week. And I'm building on this week by week, so this is growing and growing. New sections being added, of course, still needs to be compact enough to be read in an email. But if you're interested in that, register for the newsletter, but you have to do that today before I send out, obviously, or you'll miss this week's MCO Weekly. There's going to be another cryptocurrency, and we're going to take a look at probably an index or something in there as well. And obviously the mindset stuff is going to be interesting. So looking at the shorter time frame, then really there isn't anything clear here. I mean, we're still moving in that range to the downside. It's getting quite messy here. This is only the 1 hour chart, of course, showing all the wave labels. It is getting quite messy. You see here this main support zone that's unchanged between 50.7 and 61.8k. I think the risk is high to get back into this support region. However, it takes a break below 62,540 to confirm. As I said, from a mindset point of view, as I say, I'm looking at lower short term, but I'm watching these fib levels for a reaction. So essentially, I'm still let's say my working wave count, the one that I'm primarily follow, is the one in which on the 1st of May a low formed. But that doesn't mean we have to go up straight away. There is still plenty of space, even in this local correction, within this wide wave count. Okay, so what we can say, for example, is that the 4th wave bottomed here on the 1st of May. We have a wave 1 to the upside, a wave 2 to the downside, then an A wave to the upside in wave 3, a B wave pullback in wave 3. Next rally would be a C wave, but as I said, to really confirm that we've at least bottomed here locally, I need to see a first 5 wave move up, and that would be the beginning of the C wave. Then we get a 4th and a 5th. And that's sort of, the ideal structure. There are a couple of ways how this could unfold in the short term, but really the main line in the sand is 62,540. Any break below that level would likely send us back into the lower support region. That would not be bearish, but it would be an opportunity for anybody who wants to add as a pullback trade a little lower. Okay. Just be aware of that trend line I showed you, because this is the trend line we're currently touching here. Looking at the very short term, there is so I think it's important to detach the trend line from the Elliott Wave patterns, because they're not really related, but we'll see if that has an impact, if that trend line breaks, if it breaks. For now, I've added, here on the micro level, the white count still allows for a direct turn to the upside from here, but it would literally need to happen right now. We haven't broken below the Tuesday low, so the white microstructure in which the C wave to the upside has started, technically still valid, but questionable until we break above resistance. Not what I believe, because the wave 2 was just too sharp. The wave 1 was only in 3 waves to the upside. I mentioned that yesterday. I don't believe it. Any break below 66,050 would confirm the blue count. I'm already watching for the blue count, which means a larger pullback, possibly into the region between 64.5 to 65k for this 3rd wave next in blue. Then there could still be a 4th and a 5th. So we'll see. The micro patterns, they are funky. Don't follow them too much. What really matters is, do we break above resistance? And then it's getting interesting. Until then, I don't think this is very exciting at the moment. It takes a break above 67,940 to break out of initial resistance and to break out of this trend channel again. And then we can see, okay, does the structure support maybe a breakout in the C wave to the upside? But for now, I can share with you, yep, we are in a Fibonacci support range again. The price reacted to this several times. So there can be at any point a reaction, shouldn't be surprising, but there's no evidence for it yet. First evidence that we are actually seeing a bit of a bounce that would be larger than what you would expect in the blue direct count to the downside, which is part of that scenario that we bottom on the 1st of May. It just allows for a deeper pullback. Well, the first evidence that something more bullish is going on would be a break above resistance here, 67,940. But until that happens, I think the downside pressure is quite high, could send us down a little bit lower in this upper micro support area. That's my update about Bitcoin. Hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Also make sure that you follow us on Instagram and Twitter for additional content. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.